Good morning. My microphone this morning, I might have to end up unplugging it. The reverb on it is something else. I hope you can all hear me. I've got my YouTube up, I've got my TikTok up. It's been a long time since I have had dual screens going. I want to talk a little business coaching this morning. I'm in between jobs. I left my position at the restaurant a week ago now. This is my first full week of being unemployed, although I have a liquor demo job that I do and I have a banquet job that I do. I turned 65 in July. I try to take relatively good care of me, my image, my health, the way I speak, the way I offer anything to anybody that I'm working for. So, as a business coach, I teach classes. I do not teach a course. I do not believe in the course. I believe take what you need, leave what you don't. Let me show you how to start a side hustle. I'm Kitryn Marie, reside in St. Louis, Missouri, an artist, writer, speaker, life and a business coach, reside in St. Louis, Missouri, published author. When He Had Her. It's available on Amazon. It is a class that I also teach. I teach a variety of classes. I believe very much in the multi-stream income. You may have your regular job, but due to the state of the world, you need all these extra things to make your life more interesting, not to make it more complicated, but to add some extra funds into your bank account. Hence why I do the liquor demo and why I work at the banquet hall and I had been working at a restaurant. My question to all of you this morning, and I know oftentimes I sound like a broken record, the position that you were in and the job that you were doing, how bad is it destroying your mental health? How bad is it just soul sucking the life out of you? And when you have to go into that position, into that role, by the end of the day, how is it making you feel? That's something on my screen here. I don't know what it is. I've been cleaning like a crazy woman, being off. That's a little better. Being off. And dust gets on my nerves and I'm so very distracted. Yesterday, and this is the recap of yesterday. Got myself all put together because I always say image is everything. When you are trying to do a job for somebody else and you are trying to offer all of your skills, bringing everything that you have to an entity. When you are going to apply for a new job, is it aligning with your skills? Now, the position that I went to go have my meeting with yesterday, it was about 40 minutes away from where I live. I didn't necessarily have an issue with driving 40 minutes. I had no problem with that at all. Of course, my vehicle, because I've had so many different issues with it, was a big part of, okay, now is this going to sustain me as I say I can do this job, and can I do it in this vehicle 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back, and pray that the vehicle is going to sustain so I can do this job. There's so many factors when it comes to taking on a new job. Location, that says everything. The ad for the position in which you are going to apply for. Is the ad that is being written, that you are reading, is it exactly what the job position is? Went my 40 miles yesterday. was very much looking forward to this interview, this meeting. I was very familiar with the entity, and I won't talk about the entity because I wish them well. I hope they find what they are looking for. And although they were paying well, the way the ad read was not what the position really was. Now, from my experience, I don't know everything. I don't have all the answers. I can only speak and teach from my own personal experiences. When the world turned upside down in 2010, when the world turned upside down in 2010, when the economy completely crashed, I was in charge of a banquet facility. Held the role, I don't know, maybe 3, 4 years. I was coming out of food and beverage and was trying to get off the floor of a restaurant. The same thing I'm trying to do now. I don't want to be front of the house anything in a restaurant any longer. As an event coordinator, operations manager, that was my role that I held at that time. And also at that time, I was making $16 an hour, where now $16 an hour pretty much is minimum wage. Nobody can live on $16 an hour. They can't. Hence, the role that they were talking about in this interview meeting yesterday, it paid really well. It paid way above and beyond. From my experience, again, as the event coordinator for the banquet hall that I ran, I would sit down with my customers, with my clients, with my brides, with their parents, with whomever for whatever the event was. I walked them through, gave them a tour, sat down, talked to them about their banquet choices, menus, open bars, what, linens did they want, who were their floral people. It was more of a sales type position. I would get them signed on the contract. I would stay in contact with them. We needed to have 15% down to hold it. And then there would be 4 increments of whatever the balance was. And then the final payment would be due the night of the event. I had a staff underneath me that I, hired on. I had a banquet captain. I had my servers. I had my bartenders. I had my kitchen staff. I brought in my chefs. There was usually an executive chef. And let me say this too, for all of you that are claiming you have a chef in your kitchen, there better be a certificate on the wall. Their sheepskin should be hanging on the wall if you have a chef in your facility. Anybody can be a short order cook, and I'm not taking away from anybody who is a cook in any kind of a restaurant, but you cannot claim somebody to be a chef if they have no credentials to back them up. When I was working in my banquet industry, I would go and I handpicked 3 of my chefs, all accredited, all with certificates, all with schooling that you could not believe. They would bring in their sous chef, and then they would have their kitchen staff and their prep and whatever else is entailed in doing that position in the kitchen of a banquet and even in a restaurant. I've got almost 33 years in the restaurant industry, which I'm trying to lean out. I am trying to very much get away from that front of the house. It no longer serves who I am. So when I was going into this meeting yesterday, reading what the role was in the advertisement, I was thinking I was walking into more of a sales type position, more of an admin type position. So when I got there, they were basically looking for a banquet captain position. It was totally mistitled. Again, it paid really well, but it did not pay enough to make up for the 40 minutes there, the 40 minutes back, or being 40 minutes away at 12:30 at night. And I thought about this all night long. I woke up at 1:30 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning in an absolute panic. It makes me think when I'm business coaching, when I am teaching creative minded women how to start these side hustles, what they can do within their skills or their talents, a lot of these women have gone on to open brick and mortar. Part of the things that I have taught them is when you are looking for help, can you even really describe the role in which you are needing help? Now you can do that in any kind of trade, whatever your trade is. You know, they're skilled, they're laborers, the flunkies. There are skilled laborers. There are, people who are turning signs and scrolling on their phone. We all see them when, you're driving down the street. And then you have the people that are actually doing the job. Then you have the person who is coordinating the job. Then you have the person who is overseeing the job. So yesterday when I went into my meeting, I was thinking I was applying for more of an admin event coordinator type position because I want to be off the floor. So, as a business coach, as a life coach, has this happened to you? Have you gone on to apply for a position and the position wasn't anything in what the ad said? And how did that make you feel? It goes back to when I ran the banquet hall, operations manager, event coordinator. I also did all the HR stuff, all the hiring, all the firing, all of the payroll. I did QuickBooks, hired the bands, so on and so forth. And then there was somebody that I delegated the things on the floor to. So, was that particular position an anomaly? It was a one-stop shop. And now, because of the way that the world is, and because people cannot do dual positions, that this is how they've set it up. I know I have all my comments turned off. I would love for, after this is all over, to if everybody could leave a comment, because I'm in between jobs. Like I said, I have my liquor demo job that I'm doing. I have my other banquet job where I could ask for more hours there, but it takes me right back to I don't want to be front of the house. I want to be more marketing and coordinating and social media and arranging things behind the scenes and then delegating because I have that experience behind me. You can't stay at the same level and expect to grow in your job status, in your career. I want to know. I want to know how everybody is really surviving. And are you coming up against because of your age? And because there are so many people who are choosing to stay out of the workforce, and I don't know how they're surviving because right now I am stretching 10 cents. I got my check from the restaurant, my last one. It's enough to make my car payment, and it's enough that I can have an extra $100 till the banquet and the liquor demo, money comes rolling in. But I want to know how are you managing? How are you stretching your 10 cents? And are you really utilizing all of your skills in applying for these jobs? And are you asking the correct questions? Now, I went through the meeting and it was fine. Lovely people, nothing against them. Like I said, I loved the area. But compared to what I thought I was walking into, and finding out exactly what they were needing was nothing that I would have ever really applied for. I talk about this in my business coaching class. Being aware of specifying exactly what the role is that is needed, and are you wording it correctly so you are not baiting and switching in your hiring process. There are jobs available. There are plenty of jobs available. But again, is it matching your skill set? And what are you willing to sacrifice money-wise in order to take the job that matches your skill? I do my liquor demo tonight at 5. I'm going to try to pull myself together because I'm a little tired since I have not been sleeping real good the last couple days, kind of being concerned about what's going to happen. Where am I going to go? What is this next phase in life? I could collect a little bit of Social Security, but why? It's not even worth it. By the time, they deduct Medicare and all that other BS, it's not worth it. It will not sustain me. It will not even help me. It will hinder my other opportunities to work. So there are jobs out there. I'm going to digress. I need to come off a ledge just a little bit because it's just really disheartening. It really, really is. The last job, the last position I was in, it was a soul sucking. I won't say they because I like very many people in that entity, but the entity in itself was soul sucking. They changed my pay structure and I no longer was allowed to make my own money. And I was not allowed to do my job in the role that I know how to do it. And after 33 years, you have experience. And why would somebody want to take that experience away from you other than to have control over an environment for whatever reason? And then it comes down to narcissism. It comes down to greed. It comes down to somebody who has to have, sorry, I'm all disheveled now. It comes down to somebody having to have control in the environment because they don't really know what they're doing anymore. So this morning, trying to figure out what my day is going to be like. I have this other entity I can go talk to that could be a possible fill-in if need be. Little disheartened. Very much disheartened. I have to take my vehicle over to AutoZone, though, and get some seafoam to put into the gas tank because it was sputtering. I don't know if it's a clogged fuel injector. The vehicle is at 100,000 miles. I don't even want to put the word catalytic converter in it because I know when I had my Sonata, when it got up to 100,000, I had to replace all of that. And that's just not going to happen right now. But what is the job? What is the job that you are looking for? And what is the bottom line that you need to make? Another thing too, what are the hours that you were willing to work? In this ad, it said 20 to 25 hours, paid $25 to $30. That was not it at all. It was basically an as needed per season, starting out $10 less, $2 higher than 20. Again, which is all fine and good, but that is not what the ad read. And I find that to be very misleading. The other thing too, I had talked about these recruiting type apps. You go to look up a job. You can Google, you can put in, and let's just say part-time event coordinator jobs. And you can put that in. And then whatever browser you use will pull up jobs and it will tell you who is all hiring. You can change, your filters, distance, how much you want to make, your hours, so on and so forth. Well, anyway, it will take you over to a recruiter site, most likely, like Indeed, LinkedIn, BuzzBee, Staffed Up, BuzzBee. There's a whole bunch of other ones. Job Finds. They're all AI run. Be very mindful how your resume looks, because this AI program will go in and it will kick you out of the system, telling you you're not qualified for a job because it has been programmed to pick and choose words. Here's an example, and I talked about this, I think, last week. Because of having my own business since 2013, marketing, coordinating, social media, photography, blog writing, vlog, videoing, and all those things that pertain to content creating. All this experience. Plus, if you Google my name, Kitryn Marie, I think now I'm showing up the first 5 pages on Google, which has been 10 years in the making. Also, I was just interviewed by 2 magazines. So there are credentials behind who I am and what I'm trying to do. So I had applied for a marketing coordinating position for a spa here in my area, using Staffed Up, because that's who you had to apply the job for. It only saw all my experience in food and beverage. It did not pick up the other skills that I have. So as the AI side, sorry if I start to stumble over my words, because I want to make sure that I am making sense to whomever is watching. Staffed Up decided they were going to kick me out of the pool because it only picked up those food and beverage things. It did not pick up all the other skills that were matching the job description for the spa. Later on, the spa in themselves, they did send, a message saying, at this time we are not hiring. We've decided to kind of step back because all of these spa and med spas and gyms and all of these luxury, there's Pilates classes, Botox, all those things that fall into that. Those are all luxury kind of things that are definitely hurting right now. And because they do not have the clientele or the customer base like they would have had a few years back, they have to do away with those types of roles and positions. But they did say, if they decided that they were going to open up in another area, that they would hang on to my resume. Well, that's just a standard, So here I sit today, trying to do this live on TikTok, because TikTok has said if I go live, I can be monetized, which I greatly appreciate. I have my following on YouTube. I think I've had 115 new subscribes on my YouTube channel, and I greatly, greatly appreciate that. My phone, okay, so yesterday, I don't know what it is with my phone. I still need to get a hold of the kid next door to have him tell me what's going on, because I don't have enough space on my phone anymore. My phone is so old. I was looking back when I was deleting pictures. I got this phone when we went to New Orleans, and that was in 2018, I think. So what is it? 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. My phone is 8 years old. I hang on to things forever, and I don't get rid of them. You should see clothes that I'm still hanging on to for the last 25 years. But I need to figure out my whole phone situation, trying to figure out what is the best route to do this content creating and the social media marketing field that I want to get into more in an admin role. The body can only do so much, and you have to be able to decide how much your body can do. And are you still trying to do a job based on something you did 30 years ago and you continued in that 30-year path that has made you sick? that has made you unhealthy, that has made you totally angry and miserable because your body is not keeping up with what you used to be able to do. I no longer can carry a tray. I can't. It's a physical thing that is very apparent. Bad shoulder, bad hips, bad back, you know. I don't like to moan. I don't like to, complain about how aging has affected decline, how affects your job, but you have to think smart. You have to think, what are you able to do with this next phase of your life? The average person, I think I said this last week too, the average person will get about $1,800 in their Social Security if they're lucky. The average person really doesn't have a whole big 401k. And since 2010, people have borrowed against it. They have removed that money out of their 401k to live. We have this newer generation, is it Gen Z, that is coming out of college, and they are looking at big dollar signs with that degree that they are holding for a position that isn't even available. And if you stop to think and you look at what jobs are available and the amount of money that they are offering, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to have that job? And are you overselling who you are, what you're capable of doing, just to have a job that does not align with who you are? Again, I'm Kitryn Marie. I reside in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm an artist, a writer, a speaker, a life and a business coach, teach a variety of art and communication classes. I teach how to put a vision board together based in life coaching. I teach how to write a book, the who, the what, the where, the when, the how. I teach group painting classes. I charge $48 a person for my painting classes. I bring all the supplies. There must be a minimum of 11. Has to be prepaid 7 days before the event is scheduled. This is how I've always done business. I have a Cash App. You pay through my Cash App. I business coach creative-minded women who want to start side hustles. Earlier in the week, I broke out my Cricut machine because at one time, as we were, ending the world in 2020, my business, I had KM Designs. I did photography. I had a t-shirt business. I had a merchandise store, all online. And 2021, it completely took a dive. All of my classes stopped. My merchandise, my sales stopped. Just in the past month, I've started a Printify shop, Kitryn-Marie.printify.me. If you're interested in any of my merchandise, some of my photography is available on canvases. But I wanted to touch base this morning because I'm very disheartened. I very much would have loved to have taken that job, and it hasn't been offered, and I haven't declined it. I will sit down and write them a letter because the ad in itself was very misleading. And that's very disheartening for somebody who is out of work looking for a particular role, and knowing what I'm trying to lean out of and what I am trying to do for the next, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years. Your body only can do so much. As long as your brain is functioning and you were able to speak, you were able to inspire, you were able to sell, you were able to do what you are trained to do and be able to take it to a whole other level. But I would love to be able to hear from you. Reach out, Kitryn Marie at gmail.com. You can go over to my website, Kitryn-Marie.weebly.com, to see all of the things that I teach and all of the things that I do. Would love to hear from you. Thanks for letting me take your time. I don't know how long I've been on here. 20, almost a half hour. But we'll see. We'll see what's going on over the next couple days. I can coast for about one more week, and then I'm going to have to really figure out where life is going to be taking me. It's hell to be old, it's hell to be responsible. And nobody ever really taught you any of this when you were a kid. And they said, hey, when you're an adult, although I've been an adult for a long time, and life always worked, I always made it work for me. I came out of an entity prior to the restaurant where I was making $200 a day. This last entity, I was not making anywhere near that. And again, my funds were cut. I was not able to do my job in the role that I know how to do it because there were too many chiefs, not enough Indians, and people who wanted to have control over an environment that they had lost control over in a broken system. But for today, for tomorrow, be happy, be blessed, be thankful for everything. Remember, fate turns on a dime, and it is up to you to decide what side of the coin you want to be on. Enjoy your day. I want to know, how are you surviving? What are you doing right now? What are your non negotiables? And what is it within your skill set that you are not willing to sacrifice for a job you know how to do? Take care. See you real soon. Bye. All right. And I will see you guys real soon. I won't be able to do videos for a while because of the phone. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on. But y'all take care. Enjoy your day. Please leave a comment after this is all done. Take care. Bye.